The Amityville Horror, a tale of terror and mystery. The story of the Amityville house, nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood of New York, is one of the most infamous tales of horror in American history. At first glance, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue, with its colonial-style architecture and picturesque setting, seemed like the perfect family home. However, the events that unfolded within its walls have cemented its place as one of the most terrifying haunted house stories ever recorded. On November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr., a 23-year-old resident of the house, committed an unthinkable act. Armed with a .35 caliber rifle, he methodically shot and killed his parents and 4 siblings as they slept. The brutality of the crime shocked the nation. Even more chilling was DeFeo's calm demeanor when he initially claimed to have discovered the murders and reported them to the police. During his trial, DeFeo claimed he had heard voices compelling him to commit the murders. This defense added a sinister layer to the case, as many began to wonder if the house itself harbored malevolent forces. DeFeo was convicted and sentenced to 6 life sentences, but the story of the house was far from over. In December 1975, a year after the murders, George and Kathy Lutz purchased the home at a remarkably low price of $80,000. They moved in with their 3 children, believing they were embarking on a fresh chapter of their lives. The Lutz family was aware of the house's dark history, but they dismissed it, convinced that their faith and love would be enough to create a happy home. However, their dream home quickly turned into a nightmare. The Lutzes claimed that from the very first day, strange occurrences began. George, who had no prior history of unusual behavior, became obsessed with keeping the house warm. He constantly fed the fireplace, but could never shake a deep chill that seemed to permeate the air. Kathy began having vivid nightmares about the murders. She dreamt of the crime scene in disturbing detail, despite never having seen it. The children's personalities began to shift as well, with one of their daughters claiming to have made friends with a pig-like entity named Jody, which she described as having glowing red eyes. Over time, the occurrences became more intense. Doors slammed shut with no apparent cause, windows opened on their own, and foul odors filled certain rooms without any discernible source. Green slime oozed from the walls, and black stains appeared mysteriously on the toilets. The family dog, Harry, behaved erratically, barking incessantly at empty spaces and refusing to enter certain parts of the house. George woke up at exactly 3:15 a.m. every night, the approximate time when the DeFeo murders occurred. One night, he ventured outside and claimed to have seen Jody's glowing red eyes staring at him through a window. The family sought help from a priest, Father Ralph Pecoraro, who came to bless the house. However, as soon as he began his prayers, he felt an unseen force slap him across the face and heard a voice command him to get out. The priest advised the Lutzes to leave the house immediately, but they hesitated, hoping the disturbances would subside. Instead, the phenomena escalated. George and Kathy both reported being levitated from their beds. Objects flew across rooms. The children's beds were said to move on their own. On one terrifying occasion, Kathy claimed she was physically attacked by an invisible entity, leaving her body covered in red welts. The family finally fled the house after just 28 days, leaving all their belongings behind. They later stated that they could no longer endure the relentless barrage of supernatural activity. The Lutz's account of their time in the Amityville house captured the public's imagination. Their story was documented in Jay Anson's 1977 book, The Amityville Horror, which became a bestseller. The book's success led to a series of films, beginning with the 1979 classic, further cementing the house's reputation as a site of unrelenting terror. However, skepticism surrounded the Lutz's claims. Critics argued that their story was a fabrication designed to profit from the house's notoriety. Subsequent owners of the property reported no unusual activity, further fueling doubts. Despite the controversy, the Amityville house remains a symbol of paranormal intrigue. Whether the events experienced by the Lutz family were genuine or not, the story of 112 Ocean Avenue continues to captivate and terrify audiences worldwide. To this day, the house's infamous legacy serves as a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that may dwell in the shadows of our world. The terrifying tale of Annabelle, a doll possessed. In the shadowed annals of paranormal history, few artifacts have captured the public's imagination like Annabelle, a seemingly innocent doll with a sinister past. The story of Annabelle, now safely locked away in the occult museum of Ed and Lorraine Warren, serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of meddling with forces beyond human understanding. It all started in 1970 when a young nursing student named Donna received a Raggedy Ann doll from her mother as a gift. Donna lived in a small apartment with her roommate, Angie. At first, the doll seemed like a charming addition to their home. It sat quietly on Donna's bed, a cheerful presence in their otherwise unadorned room. But the calm wouldn't last. Not long after its arrival, the doll began to exhibit strange behavior. Donna and Angie noticed that it would change positions when left alone. At first, the changes were subtle, a slight shift of an arm or leg. Over time, the movements became more pronounced. The doll would be found in entirely different rooms, even when no one else was home. Things escalated further when Donna began finding parchment paper with cryptic messages scrawled on it. The notes read, "Help us" or "Help Lou" in childlike handwriting. Oddly, neither Donna nor Angie kept parchment paper in their apartment. Disturbed by these occurrences, Donna contacted a medium to help uncover the truth. During a seance, the medium claimed to connect with the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. Annabelle, according to the medium, had lived on the land before the apartment complex was built. She was lonely and had taken a liking to the doll, asking if she could stay. Moved by the tragic tale, Donna and Angie gave the spirit permission to inhabit the doll. They hoped this act of kindness would bring peace to the restless child's spirit. But what followed was anything but peaceful. Lou, a friend of Donna and Angie, was particularly uneasy about the doll. He felt an intense sense of dread whenever he was near it. One night, Lou had a terrifying nightmare. In the dream, Annabelle climbed on his chest and began strangling him. Lou awoke gasping for air, convinced that it wasn't just a dream. Another time, Lou and Angie were alone in the apartment when they heard rustling sounds coming from Donna's room. Lou entered to investigate and found no one there. However, as he approached the doll, he felt a sharp, burning pain on his chest. When he lifted his shirt, he discovered claw-like scratches that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. The marks healed quickly, but the experience left him shaken. Desperate for answers, Donna contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators. The Warrens immediately recognized that the doll was not inhabited by the spirit of a child, but by a demonic entity. They explained that such entities often manipulate humans by pretending to be benign spirits to gain their trust. According to the Warrens, the entity's ultimate goal was not to possess the doll, but to claim a human host. Annabelle was merely a conduit, a means to an end. The Warrens performed a blessing on the apartment to cleanse it of the dark presence and took Annabelle with them for safekeeping. The doll was placed in a specially designed glass case in their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut. The case was inscribed with the words, "Warning." Even in containment, Annabelle's malevolence seemed to persist. Visitors to the museum reported feeling uneasy in her presence. One particularly reckless individual ignored the warnings and taunted the doll. On his way home, he lost control of his motorcycle and died in a tragic accident. His girlfriend, who survived, claimed they had been mocking Annabelle just before the crash. The story of Annabelle has inspired countless books, documentaries, and films, including the highly successful Conjuring and Annabelle movie franchises. However, beyond Hollywood dramatization lies a chilling reality. Annabelle serves as a stark warning about the dangers of underestimating the supernatural. To this day, the doll remains in the Warrens Museum, a silent yet potent reminder of the unseen forces that dwell in the shadows of our world. Though locked behind glass, Annabelle's story continues to terrify and intrigue those who dare to learn about her cursed existence. The Winchester Mystery House, a maze of secrets and spirits. The story of the Winchester Mystery House is one of the most intriguing and enigmatic tales of haunted architecture. Located in San Jose, California, this sprawling mansion was the brainchild of Sarah Winchester, heiress to the Winchester repeating arms fortune. Over the course of 38 years, Sarah turned the house into a bizarre labyrinth of over 160 rooms, filled with secret passages, staircases that lead nowhere, and doors that open to walls or sheer drops. What drove her to such peculiar construction? Many believe it was a desperate attempt to appease the restless spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles. Sarah Winchester was a woman of privilege, but also one of profound loss. In 1862, she married William Wirt Winchester, heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. The couple enjoyed a life of luxury until tragedy struck. Their infant daughter, Annie, died of a rare disease in 1866, leaving Sarah devastated. Her grief compounded when William succumbed to tuberculosis in 1881. Now alone and inheriting a vast fortune, Sarah sought solace, but found only sorrow. According to legend, Sarah sought guidance from a Boston medium, desperate for answers about her tragic life. The medium told her that her family was cursed by the spirits of those who had died at the hands of Winchester rifles. These restless souls, the medium claimed, sought revenge and would haunt Sarah unless she took action. The solution, according to the medium, was to build a house that would confuse and trap the spirits. As long as construction never ceased, the spirits would be kept at bay, and Sarah's life would be spared. Taking this advice to heart, Sarah purchased an unfinished farmhouse in San Jose and began her extraordinary project. From 1884 until her death in 1922, Sarah oversaw the continuous construction of her mansion. Workers labored around the clock, adding rooms, hallways, and staircases without any coherent plan. The house grew into an architectural oddity. Asterisk staircases that lead to nowhere. Some stairs end abruptly at the ceiling, a tactic Sarah believed would confuse the spirits. Asterisk doors that open to walls or drops. One door famously opens to a two-story drop into the garden below. Asterisk secret passages. Hidden corridors and peepholes allowed Sarah to move through the house undetected, avoiding potential ghostly encounters. Asterisk the number 13. This number recurs throughout the house, from 13 pane windows to 13 step staircases, perhaps as a form of spiritual protection. Despite the lack of a master plan, the house continued to grow. By the time of Sarah's death, it had 160 rooms, 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 fireplaces, and 6 kitchens. Yet, no blueprints were ever found, suggesting that Sarah directed the construction based on her visions and fears. Sarah Winchester lived a reclusive life within the mansion, interacting only with her servants and workers. It is said that she conducted nightly seances in a special room, seeking guidance from the spirits on how to continue the house's construction. She slept in a different room each night to evade any vengeful entities that might be following her. Visitors and workers often reported strange occurrences, unexplained footsteps, whispering voices, and the sound of hammering even when construction had ceased for the day. Sarah's obsession with the house and its spirits cast an eerie shadow over everyone who stepped inside. Sarah passed away peacefully in her sleep on September 5, 1922, at the age of 83. Upon her death, all construction on the house immediately stopped, leaving unfinished rooms and incomplete projects throughout the mansion. Sarah's belongings were removed, but the house remained as she left it, a monument to her fears and obsessions. The Winchester Mystery House is now a popular tourist attraction and is considered one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors can explore its bewildering hallways, marvel at its oddities, and perhaps even experience its paranormal phenomena. Reports of ghostly sightings and inexplicable sounds continue to this day, with some claiming that Sarah herself roams the mansion, ensuring the spirits remain trapped within its walls. The house stands as a testament to one woman's grief, fear, and determination. Whether Sarah was truly haunted by spirits or merely by her own guilt and sorrow, the Winchester Mystery House remains a chilling reminder of how far someone might go to seek redemption or escape the unknown. The mystery of Dyatlov Pass, a chilling enigma. Deep in the Ural Mountains of Russia lies a place shrouded in mystery and tragedy, Dyatlov Pass. Named after Igor Dyatlov, the leader of a doomed expedition, this remote region has become infamous for an incident that remains unsolved to this day. In 1959, 9 experienced hikers embarked on a trek that would end in their horrifying and unexplained deaths. The circumstances surrounding their demise have baffled investigators, inspired conspiracy theories, and terrified adventurers for decades. On January 23, 1959, 10 hikers, mostly students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, set out on a challenging journey to reach Mount Otorten. The group, led by Igor Dyatlov, was well-equipped and experienced, ready to face the harsh Siberian winter. However, one member, Yuri Yudin, fell early in the expedition and had to turn back, unknowingly sparing his life. The remaining 9 hikers, 7 men and 2 women, continued their trek. Their route took them through rugged terrain, dense forests, and snow-covered slopes. They planned to document their journey meticulously, capturing photos and writing in diaries, as they had done on previous expeditions. Their goal was to return by February 12th, but they never made it back. When the group failed to return, search parties were dispatched to find them. On February 26th, their campsite was discovered, and what rescuers found shocked the world. The hikers' tent was torn open from the inside, and their belongings, including warm clothing, were left behind. Footprints in the snow indicated that the hikers had fled the tent barefoot or in socks, despite the freezing temperatures. The search team followed the tracks and discovered the first 2 bodies near the edge of a forest, under a large cedar tree. Both men were barefoot and dressed only in undergarments. The branches of the tree were broken, suggesting that one of them had climbed it, possibly in a desperate attempt to spot the campsite or escape something unseen. 3 more bodies, including Dyatlov's, were found between the tree and the campsite, as if they had been trying to return to the tent. These bodies also showed signs of hypothermia and minor injuries. It wasn't until 2 months later, when the snow melted, that the remaining 4 hikers were discovered in a ravine 75 meters from the cedar tree. Their condition was even more perplexing and horrifying. *1 victim's skull was fractured. *2 others had severe chest injuries, comparable to the force of a car crash. Another was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Despite these injuries, there were no external wounds to explain the trauma. Furthermore, traces of radiation were found on some of the hikers' clothing, adding another layer of mystery to the case. Over the years, countless theories have been proposed to explain what happened at Dyatlov Pass. Some of the most prominent include 1. Avalanche. A sudden avalanche could have forced the group to flee their tent in a panic. However, no significant evidence of an avalanche was found, and the injuries sustained by the hikers didn't match typical avalanche victims. 2. Military experiments. The area was known for secret Soviet military tests. Some theorists suggest that the hikers may have stumbled upon a missile test or were exposed to experimental weapons. This could explain the radiation and the unusual injuries. 3. Yeti attack. A more sensational theory posits that the group was attacked by a creature such as a Yeti. Proponents point to the hikers' fearful flight and the mysterious injuries as evidence. 4. Paranormal forces. Others believe the group encountered something supernatural, such as UFOs or a phenomenon known as infrasound, which could have caused panic and disorientation. 5. Internal conflict or psychosis. Some suggest that one or more of the hikers may have suffered a mental breakdown, leading to violence within the group. However, there is little evidence to support this theory. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation and concluded that the hikers likely died due to a combination of hypothermia and an avalanche. However, this explanation has been met with skepticism, as it fails to account for many of the strange details, such as the radiation, missing body parts, and extreme injuries. Today, Dyatlov Pass remains a chilling destination for adventurers and a source of fascination for researchers and conspiracy theorists. The pass has become a symbol of the unknown, a reminder of the dangers that lurk in the wilderness and the mysteries that defy explanation. For those who visit, the haunting memory of the 9 lost hikers serves as a solemn warning. The truth about what happened at Dyatlov Pass may never be fully uncovered, but its shadow continues to loom over the frozen landscape. The horrors of Belle Gunness, the murder farm of Lawport. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a farm in Lawport, Indiana, became the setting for one of America's most chilling tales of murder and greed. Belle Gunness, a seemingly ordinary woman, turned her property into a house of horrors, luring unsuspecting victims to their doom. Known as the Black Widow of the Midwest, Belle's reign of terror ended in flames and mystery, leaving behind a legacy of fear and unanswered questions. Born Brynhild Paulsdatter Storseth in 1859 in Selbu, Norway, Belle emigrated to the United States in 1881, seeking a better life. Standing nearly 6 feet tall and weighing over 200 pounds, Belle was physically imposing, a fact she would later use to her advantage. She married Mads Sorensen in 1884 and settled in Chicago, where they ran a candy store. Tragedy struck repeatedly in Belle's life, always coinciding with financial gain. The candy store mysteriously burned down, and Mads died under suspicious circumstances on a day when 2 life insurance policies overlapped. Belle collected a sizable payout, setting the stage for what would become a pattern in her life. After Mads's death, Belle moved to Lawport, Indiana, where she purchased a 42-acre farm. There, she married Peter Gunness, a widower with children. Shortly after their marriage, Peter met an untimely end when a meat grinder supposedly fell from a shelf and struck his head. Authorities were suspicious, but Belle's calm demeanor and her claim that Peter's death was a tragic accident quelled any further investigation. Once again, Belle collected life insurance money. Following Peter's death, Belle began placing personal ads in Norwegian-language newspapers. These ads sought wealthy, single men interested in marriage. The responses poured in, and Belle's farm became a magnet for suitors, none of whom would ever be seen again. Belle's method was chillingly effective. Suitors arrived with their life savings, lured by promises of love and a prosperous future. They would disappear shortly after their arrival, leaving no trace. Belle's farmhands noticed that she often asked for help digging large holes on her property, which she claimed were for garbage disposal. In reality, these pits would become graves for her victims. Belle's cruelty extended beyond her suitors. Her foster children, who lived with her on the farm, also vanished under mysterious circumstances. Rumors began to circulate in the community, but Belle's outward charm and the isolation of her farm kept her crimes hidden. In April 1908, Belle's house went up in flames. Inside, investigators found the charred remains of her 3 children and a headless adult woman believed to be Belle herself. However, doubts about the woman's identity quickly arose. The body was much smaller than Belle's towering frame, leading to speculation that she had faked her death to escape justice. Meanwhile, as investigators searched the property, they uncovered a series of shallow graves containing dismembered bodies. The exact number of victims remains unknown, but estimates range from 14 to over 40. Among the remains were personal belongings and letters from Belle's suitors, confirming the extent of her murderous scheme. Ray Lamphere, a former farmhand and lover of Belle, became a central figure in the investigation. Belle had recently fired Ray and accused him of being mentally unstable. After the fire, Ray was arrested and charged with arson and murder. During his trial, Ray admitted to knowing about Belle's crimes, claiming she had forced him to help dispose of the bodies. He also suggested that Belle had planned the fire and escaped, leaving the headless body as a decoy. Despite his testimony, Ray was convicted of arson and died in prison, leaving many questions unanswered. To this day, the fate of Belle Gunness remains a subject of debate. Was the headless body truly hers? Or did she manage to disappear and start a new life? Sightings of Belle were reported in various states for years after the fire, but none were confirmed. The farm itself became known as the Murder Farm, a grim reminder of Belle's reign of terror. Her story has inspired books, documentaries, and even urban legends, cementing her place as one of America's most infamous serial killers. The chilling tale of Belle Gunness serves as a dark reminder of how greed and cunning can mask unspeakable evil, and how some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved.